Good evening, family. This is Shirley Husar, H-U-S-A-R. I'm the CEO of Urban Game Changers, where we go in the urban communities and we hold elected officials accountable as well as ourselves. Many of you guys know I have been on the road traveling. Thank you so much for your love and support. It was great meeting so many of you guys at CPAC. We're going to have a recap of CPAC. We're also going to talk tonight about President Trump wants some more money for the wall. He wants to talk about that wall. And I want to share my ideas and thoughts behind the wall, again, why do we need to build this wall? There's always a lot of talk about this wall. But this is an important video. It's going to be very detailed, so I need you to get your pen and paper. It's going to be very complex, so that means you need to share. So while we're on this video now, why don't you go ahead and share. Share it on your page, share it on your group pages, and thank you to all of the millions and the thousands and so many of you guys have shared my videos. I find them on so many other feeds. It's amazing. It makes me feel wonderful and appreciated because we are a family. We think and we grow together. We add life to each other. So tonight's video is very, very crucial that you're patient with me. Tonight's video is very important because you may not be a Trump supporter. Let me say this again. You may not be a Trump supporter, but you are an American and you do have a family and you need to feed them. So I want you to watch this video. Give me the first 5 minutes and give me your input. And as I go along, I'll try to read some of the things that you're posting, but I have so much information I need to share. I need you to be conscious. So share this video, get your pen and paper, and let's go. Tonight I want to talk about President Trump. Apparently they're saying he's going to ask for $8.6 billion because we need to continue to finish the wall, or an additional money to get up to that amount. But a lot of us are saying, I don't care about a wall, I don't want a wall, or I want a wall. But I want to talk about how this wall is affecting the people behind the wall, and that's us. California, and particularly because we are the weakest link. We are the weakest point of the wall. I am a Native American from California. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. My name is Shirley Husar. If you have not been to California before, what you're seeing now is tragedy, because we have open squatting, illegal selling on the street, money exchanged from hands that are cash. These people are doing cash dealings and we don't get that money back. We need to have that discussion, and that's what we're going to discuss tonight. So I'm going to show you videos in between me talking, and then I might look at some of your comments. Let me think some people come in, and Tammy has come in, Urban Game Changers, Alabama and Arkansas. I love T West. Thank you so much. Chris is out there. Charles is out there. Tammy says, let's go, Shirley. Steve's out there. Willie's out there. Kathy's out there. Janet's out there. Nick is out there. Mary's out there. Linda Atkins, I love you. She's out there. We need to finish this wall. And I want to tell you, your neighbor is stealing from you. You don't even know it. Your neighbor is taking from you and you don't even know it. So I'm going to break that down, but let's talk first about the wall. The Washington Post posted an article and they say Trump to demand $8.6 billion in new wall funding to set a fresh battle in Congress. That sounds like warring words, but let's look at this video. I want you guys to see it.
Fulfilling his campaign promise, President Donald Trump is planning to ask Congress on Monday for an additional $8.6 billion to help pay for a wall along the U.S. border with Mexico.
We're setting the stage, we're setting the table, we're doing whatever we have to do.
That's according to sources who told Reuters exclusively that Trump's demand is more than 6 times what Congress allocated for border projects in each of the past 2 fiscal years, and 6% more than Trump has corralled by invoking emergency powers this year. While Republicans control the Senate, Democrats who oppose the wall control the U.S. House of Representatives, making it unlikely the Republican president's request will win congressional passage. The president's proposal comes on the heels of a bruising battle with Congress over wall funding that resulted in a 5-week partial government shutdown and could touch off a sequel this fall. If Congress and the White House fail to agree to lift mandatory spending caps, steep automatic cuts would kick in. Lawmakers must also agree to lift the debt ceiling or risk a default and chaotic economic fallout. And if a budget is not passed by the October 1st deadline, the government could shut down again.
Okay, so what does all that mean? Let me pause. Let me take that out. What does all that mean? I'm going to tell you what that means. That means that Congress and Trump are going to go again at it back and forth. And they're going to get at it back and forth because they need money. We work on three principles: power, money, and numbers. That's how most countries are ran, by power, money, and numbers. And it's nothing personal. It's not about race. It's not about gender. It's about money, numbers, and power. And the man in charge is saying that we need more money to protect the citizens on our side. And the way they plan on getting that money is through going to Congress, asking the Bank of Congress and the leaders who are supposed to represent the people that we need money to fix this country. Everybody's got that part down, right? Pretty simple. This is where it gets a little bit more complex, so bear with me. I want to talk about two words tonight. Write this down, right? Are you writing this down? Have you shared this video? Because we're talking about money, power, and numbers, right? You got that down. You wrote that down. Share this video. Now we're going to talk about the infrastructure, and we're going to talk about remittance. Those are two things: infrastructure and remittance. And I'm going to tell you a different definition of infrastructure from what you may think it is, because I've posted these on my page and I don't seem to get a lot of response. And I don't think that people know what remittance is. And I don't think that people understand infrastructure and how I'm thinking infrastructure. So I'm going to give you a narrative, because infrastructure can be anything, in the conjunction to politics of how I want to show it and share it with you. Okay, so if we talk about money flowing, if you have immigrants that come into this country, illegal immigrants that come into this country, refugees who come into this country, expired visas who stay in this country, green cards who walk around the street in this country, and their extended children and family members who they bring in chain migration into this country. The children that they bear and bore and say now they're Americans are now in this country. And false numbers that are given to you by the stats of how many of them are really here are in this country. What you're having is a mass grow of other people and not Americans that are loyal to the infrastructure of how our country was laid. Our country was laid by the conquistadors of whites that went to war in England and fought to create America. Then you have an infrastructure of African Americans who came here in 1619. This marks the 400th year that the War Dutchman brought 20 Africans who landed in Virginia, who brought them as commodity trades in goods and service. And yes, the Irish also helped build America. But when the Africans came, again, be open to what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be racist or biased or prejudiced with all that. Get that out of your head. Black people had the body physician, you know what I mean? They had the body to do the work. Those people, those Africans they brought here were bigger than Irish, bigger than using white children as slaves. They had the body, they had the mind, they were strong, and we needed to use them, and their own people sold them. Their own people sold them here, so we're going to take them anyway. Fast forward, the whites and the blacks, listen to me, working together, crossbreeding together, write that down, crossbreeding, colonize, white and black, build America, up to a point that then more foreigners came into this country. So when I hear people say, well, the blacks and the Mexicans and the Asians are doing well, and then the whites, See, white and black people are a cultural similarity. Write that down. African American descendants of slaves are a cultural similarity because of their historical connection of 400 years. When someone come here from El Salvador, Guadalajara, China, Mexico, their loyalty to their homeland is not here. Now, we all can agree on that part, right? Okay, good. So if their loyalty is not here, their loyalty is sending their money back to their country. You understand what I'm saying? They're sending their money back to their country. So it's their money. They come here. They don't pay taxes. They may pay food and city taxes in that sense, but when they run their business, everything's cash. If you're not conscious to the cash flow that's flowing the streets of America, you're not conscious. I'm trying to wake you up. Why have you not shared this video and you're not writing that down? Money, numbers, and power, remittance, and what else did I say? Oh, that's right, infrastructure. The infrastructure of this country was cross-pollinized by those two people, right? Then we added everybody on board. What's the problem? What does that have to do with me? How are they still in my house? What are you talking about, Shirley? I wanted you to have a ground floor of where I'm going with this for those who can get this. Now, fast forward in 2019, we have all these other cultures here, but their tick, 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 tick is not supportive to this country. They've never wanted to be here for that. They came here to make money, like the rest of us. But what they also do is they came here to give that money back to their country. They take the money and they give it back to their country. Yeah, I know. So what? What has happened is our infrastructural strategies and layout of local, state, and federal are disrupted. How are they disrupted, you say? Shirley, how is that? Because that money normally goes towards helping the infrastructure of your communities on local and state. Your water, your electricity, the things in the schools that need to be fixed, the things on the roads that need to be fixed, things that need to have corrections in communities, the trees, the trimmings, all of those things are the infrastructure. Police, fire department, security, leadership, infrastructure. That money goes towards the infrastructure lane so that the money is recycled. That's why certain counties fight to keep their money and get businesses. That's why cities petition corporations to fight to come to their cities, aka Google or Amazon, who may have gone to California or in California or may go to New York, that situation. Because the tax dollars add revenue to the infrastructure. You understand where I'm going? It adds tax dollars to the infrastructure in our cities and state level. Red flag. Here it comes. Immigrants don't think like that. Illegal immigrants don't think like that. Chain migration don't think like that. Visa, green cards, children who are born of people of 2 and 3 generations within this country don't think like that. Expired visas don't think like that. That's why I'm saying all these different lines so that you realize how bad and how many of these people in different categories are here. Because when we see immigration, we think, oh, they're legal. Or we hear illegal immigration. They come legal, but they stay expired. And they still operate under rules and regulations. And they weave within the systems like a snake. And they're stealing because as they make money here, they send it back to their country, which makes their infrastructure great. You see what I'm saying? So the billions of dollars that would have normally stayed in building this country, in which was built by our forefathers to help us continue to grow and add value, is not doing that. Because we're so busy warring with each other over protecting someone's baby, we're not conscious that our local cost of living is getting high. In most cases, when they think of infrastructure, they need to get it out of the people, right? How do you get it out of the people? You raise the taxes. The water bill goes up. The electric goes up. The road tolls come into place. All these things start coming up and you've got to pay. But wait a minute. That comes from tax dollars. Those people don't pay taxes. They pay cash. They operate through cash. They move in a cash movement. So they circumvent putting into the system of state and local infrastructures of protection for everyone in that state and city. Are you guys getting that? Write that down. Infrastructure. Write that down. Because if you don't have the right infrastructures coming back in a recycled form, that means you're in trouble. That money that would normally go to your community and helping your state and local and county and district and parish is not staying in this country. It's going out in remittance to their country because they're loyal to their country. My people, I love my people, everybody. America's okay, but I love my homeland, but I can't make no money, so I come here. That's their whole spiel, right? But guess what? They're stealing from you. Because you're paying the difference through gas, you're paying the difference through your electric bill, then you're paying a difference because now you're letting them run your city councils, like in the city of Huntington Park of California in 2015, where they allowed the illegal immigrants to serve on the board. So they're not going to work in the people's best interest. They're going to raise the cost of local living to offset the difference for their deals to make their money and send more to their people. I've got another video for you. So I've explained the difference of remittance and infrastructure. But before I get to my video, I want to show you something else online. Okay. Can you see that? Bear with me, let me move my hand. Okay, how much money is sent to Mexico from the U.S.? This is on fine.com. You see that? Everybody can see that, okay. In the U.S., in 2017, almost 31 billion. Now, I've seen the numbers of 28 to 31 billion remittance from U.S. to Mexico, which we don't tax, nor do we send any tariffs to these people. Meaning that we say, okay, if you're going to send that money, then boo-boo, let me help you out. What you need to do is give us some of that, like 10 or 20 or 25%. But let's go over and look over the years. So this site, I'm going to go up a little closer. This site will tell you over the years. In 2000, it was 7,525. Then it went up. Billion. That's billion, by the way. In 17 is 30 billion, 30 billion.60. And so then they kind of sum it up right here. This is a table. It says, the table below shows 2017 remittance figured from the U.S. of other countries to Mexico. Now, this is just the U.S. to Mexico. That means there's people who are here who said they live in Mexico. That's when they say, oh, the Mexicans aren't taking anything. Why are they sending it to Mexico? Because they know if they get it to Mexico, they can get it to Guadalajara, they can get it to El Salvador, they can get it to Guam, they can get it wherever the hell they're going to get it to. Okay, that comes out to, let me get closer, $30 billion. We don't get any of that money. That money is your infrastructural money that should have went to your state, local, and regulations of protection, your border board, your school board, because it's recycling. We're working together to keep our community and our cities growing. That is not the concept here. This is not working anymore. We have an infrastructural remittance problem because of the foreign money people here who are here primarily to build their homeland, which is not America. Let's continue. I'm sure you guys have written it down. Here's Canada, 156 million. That's million now. Look at the difference. Million and billion. Look at these zeros. Anybody see the zeros? Look at Spain, 100 billion, 100 million. And it goes on in France and the United Kingdom and Germany and Italy. And it goes on. And these are what we call remittance that are sent back. They send this money back to their homeland. This is what they're sending back. We don't keep that money. Do you understand what I'm telling you? This money right here, this $30 billion in remittance that comes from the U.S. that goes to Mexico, that Mexican receives. I'm told, and I didn't look this article up, and someone can look this up. Put this, if someone who's watching, look this and put this in this feed as we're talking. I need somebody, if Tammy, if you're watching, if you can just share when I share these websites, if y'all could put these in here so other people can look them up later. And you might have to rewatch this video so you can write this down. But you understand the point I'm making. If you get money from the streets that should be recycled through our tax dollars, it's not staying there. It's being sent to other countries. But is it just Mexico? I'm just going to focus on 2 countries right now. I'm going to talk about another country that people send large sums of money to. Hold on a second. I want to talk about India. Now, here are the tax guidelines, regulations for a large transfer of India money. Now, I'm only going to do Mexico and India. Now, if y'all want to do the rest of them and then give me an email and do the homework on it, have fun. Because this was enough to swallow for you to just kind of get a little sense of it. This site is done through Finder. Again, it's talking about the guidelines. Because, see, when these people transfer money, they do have to pay taxes. But they're not getting enough hefty tax that they are basically feeling like, man, I'm not putting a dent in my country. We allow them to use our infrastructure, our lands, and how we have built our structure of America to build their countries. Do you understand what I'm saying? So let's look at this. These people have sent money. This is tell you how you can send it and the fees. That's not the point I want you to see. These are the different ways you can send it. Y'all can research this out later. That's not what I want you to see. This is the part I want you to see. These are the people saying, hello. This is Finder customer service. Finder's helping these people. We're here to help you. This woman says, oh, I can't wait. Thank you so much. There's one. Hold on. In this one, you're starting to see dollar amounts. The amount was over 50,000 UPs. God knows how much that is. I want you to see these numbers. Huge numbers that these people are sending out major money numbers to their country. Here it is. This one says she sent out $10,000. $10,000. She's saying, hey, here's the number for customer service if you go over 10,000. Because basically, if you send over $10,000, they have to report it, right? But these people don't always send it all at one time. They might send it less. But you can see there's huge numbers that they are sending to their country. Why? Because they're not loyal to this country. See the transfer of money? Are you guys reading these things? These people come, they're not sending like a couple $100s to help a family or friend, got in jail, got in a little hard time. These are huge numbers, over $100,000. These are huge numbers. What does that mean? Let me turn it back around so you guys can hear me talk. I'm sharing this because I want you to be conscious of the fact that, well, what does that affect me? Because some of you guys probably don't think that means anything. It means a lot. If we're going to allow these people to come over here freely, they're going to push us out. That means the white and black people who are the original cross-pollination of this country are being pushed out by immigrants who come here and congregate, as I said in previous videos, in sectors of other portions of our country. For example, the Indians buy all the hotels. The Koreans have all the hair industry. The Chinese buy a lot of commercials. The Armenians own a lot of gas stations. So they come in chain migrations and they bring their families in there and then they stay there. How many white people do you see or American people who do you see are doctors in this country? We don't even have our own doctors anymore. Our medicine, we have to watch how that's regulated anymore. We've lost control because we are not building, nor do we own any local business and buildings. The local businesses are owned by immigrants who transfer a lot of money through cash. Now listen, I showed you in Baltimore. You remember the video I did? Now, many of y'all might have seen it. Make sure you see this video where it was kind of like a farmer's market, but a Grand Station market that used to be a Lexus market. It was an old market that used to have all these different cultures, and the Greeks were there, the Italians were there, and blacks and Asians were there. But now the immigrants, and the majority you'll see there are Asians, cook everything. They had Chinese people cooking soul food, Chinese people cooking Greek food. And what has happened is we are consumers and we are commoditized goods and trades. That's what America is. That's what the American people are. That's why when you think for yourself, it's hard, right? You work every day, you pay your bills, and you come home and you breathe. Then you say, I got to go to the store. The cereal's higher, the water's higher, the gas is higher, the milk is higher. Because of the infrastructure that would normally be in place has problems, so they raise the normal way of raising it is taxing it up. But they don't tax remittance. They tax infrastructure created by the American people. And that is a problem. Let me show you another video. Now, this was a video that was done at the end of 2018.
It goes in tandem somewhat with what you had in your notes, which was sentiment is past the gutters and 3 floors down. One could not find a bull in a Red Bull factory. That said, the viewer is asking, what could cause an upside surprise for the global economy in 2019? Everyone seems negative, very negative, but all of that is just sentiment rather than data.
So I think it's a great point because the world is definitely not falling off the proverbial cliff, so to speak, on economic kind of data. What I'm really watching out for is a U.S. infrastructure bill. This is way, way more important than any kind of China-U.S. Trade deal because this basically...
He says, I'm looking for a U.S. infrastructure bill. Did you catch that? He says, and this was talked about in 2018. Let this continue to play.
Kind of the pathway for the next kind of 6 to kind of 12 months. So it's because this basically will give us kind of off the proverbial cliff, so to speak, on economic kind of data.
Now listen, I'm going to let it play.
What I'm really watching out for is a U.S. infrastructure bill. This is way, way more important than any kind of China-U.S. Trade deal because this basically will give us kind of the pathway for the next kind of 6 to kind of 12 months. So it's really up to the Democrats. Are they going to come and do something with the Republicans? We already had Pelosi on the week of the actual midterm saying that that's something they could actually agree on, the infrastructure bill, or will they be more kind of combative? So that's really, to me, the most important thing to be watching out for.
So more almost fiscal stimulus 2.0.
Absolutely.
That doesn't seem like good news if you're sitting in EM.
Potentially not.
Based on what happened this year.
But potentially not, but in the sense of an infrastructure kind of, bill for the U.S., that would obviously be very bullish for commodities structurally as well, which would be a lot more supportive for EM than, let's just say, another kind of round of tax cuts, which only will just kind of flow only solely to U.S. kind of companies.
Now, I'm going to stop there because most people, when they think of infrastructure, where do you get those resources? That's basically what they're saying. And they get it through commoditized goods and trades. That means that they can raise your electric, your gas, when you buy a car, your state tax. That's basically what he's saying, to break it down to layman's terms. But I want you to understand, if the majority of people in this country aren't working and do not build anything, we don't even own the businesses, the people who are doing that aren't paying those taxes. So we're short. Somebody's shorting us. Someone's taking the purse and ran off with it. And you know who it was? It was immigrants and illegal immigrants, expired visas and visas, chain migration, and children who've been here of 2 or 3 generations whose mindset have been programmed from their parents and grandparents that America is not their homeland, but the homeland of where you are here to make money, because that is all that matters, that we help our family at home. This is not their home. But what they're doing is they're stripping the soil of the land. Think of it as a farmer who basically has to recrop his plant, right? Because again, the recycled dollars. A farmer takes his farm and he grows things in the land, but he has to move the plants around because the nourishment in the soil becomes dried out. This is what's happening on a local and state level. The infrastructure stripped out by immigration. And now we have this breakdown. And if you look on the news, I'm sorry, I've been watching a little bit of Fox News. They're so caught up on these women from these other countries that you guys need to pay a little bit more attention and watch Bloomberg. Please watch Bloomberg and share this video. I know this is not one of my typical ranting videos. I want to have a video where I want you to understand a little bit of the breakdown of this pain. Why are we going through this? Why does he need to build the wall? Not just to keep illegals and criminals out and babies and all that, but because these people are not loyal to us. They don't have the passion to be here. They only want free stuff and money. That's why they're here. And then when they work here who say, no, I don't want free stuff, I really want to enjoy the benefits here, but they don't recycle the dollar here. And that's a red flag on a state level, on a local level. They don't understand citizenship. They don't understand patriotism. They do not understand the purpose of how the colonies came together, how the states operate. Each state has something different and adds value. And California is the most loony and loose state because that is their point of breaking in. And the liberal movement of trying to say we need more socialism because those people are going to pay for them. Well, how are you going to do it? They're going to raise the cost of an infrastructure that is not solely supported by Americans. It's supported by immigrants, illegal immigrants, chain migration, expired visas and green card people who don't pay into the infrastructure. So what does that mean? That means that money that would normally go through that chain of command, not going through that chain of command, goes to these other countries and make them wealthier and dependent upon these people to stay here. They want those people here. They want them here because they're sending money back. Look how much money Mexico's getting. Why do you think they're not trying to stop those people from getting through their borders? Because they want those people here so they can get that money of the 31 or 28 to 31 billion dollars of remittance every year from America to Mexico, from America to India, from America to China, from America to whatever land, Russia, or from America to Guadalajara. This is your homeland. Whatever these cultural people who come here, El Salvador, Saudi Arabia, whatever these people come from, they are breaking down what we would normally recycle and learn to work and love together is being taken away. That is why we have laws and regulations in this country. We, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice and domestic tranquility. There's no domestic tranquility because the domestic is not priority. Understand that. Write that down. Domestic is not priority. What is prioritized is immigration, failed systems of immigration, and mass movement or chain migration of mindsets of people who are not loyal to this country, who have not taken the time to even want to learn the dialect of this country. The stimulus packets that are going to be created, how do you stimulate something when the people who are the ones who are doing the work, they say they do the work, but they own all this stuff, they're not even paying the taxes. They're operating through cash. We see it all the time and all around us. So what's the answer? The answer is we have to build a wall. Not only do we have to build a wall, we have to have conversations. I want you to share this video, and I want you to have conversation with your friends and your families and say, what do you think about Shirley's 3 points? Numbers, power, and money. What do you think about remittance and infrastructure? And let me just read the definitions of remittance for those who may not know. Remittance is a transfer of money by foreign workers. Foreign workers. That means someone that is not of this land. Okay? That's all those people I mentioned before. Foreign workers to individuals of their own homeland. This is not their home. They always let you know that. Money sent to their home by immigrants, by migrants, that's what it says, internationally, and large financial flow to develop their countries. Now you look up remittance, to develop their countries. Let's look up the word infrastructure. Infrastructure refers to a function of facilities of systems and services in the counties, cities, and other areas, including services and facilities necessary for the economic functionings of those communities. The economic functionings of those communities. That's why you need an infrastructure. But how can you have an infrastructure of cash flow when the remittance is higher than the infrastructures that are being built in them? Write that down. How can you have that? Because you can't. This is the problem. And that is the problem that we're having in America. Consciousness and staying awoke. That's why I do these videos. I can't do videos all the time. I don't get paid for this. And there's no one backing me and funding me to say, hey, Shirley, you got to do videos once a week. I'm not like the YouTube people and all these people who are online and who are pundits and commentators and basically giving you all these hyped up things and Hollywood moves. I'm from California. I see it. I get it. But what you're not getting is the pain that's affecting your community. the outcome that's going to happen from that. I want you to have conversations, because what Fox News, CNN, H&L, MSNBC, they're constantly talking about each other and doing a recap of each other. It's some kind of soap that I see in the news today. I don't get it. Stop listening to that. Watch Bloomberg. Pay a little attention. I like watching Bloomberg. Start reading online. Start researching things in your community on a local, state basis. Look up infrastructure nationally, because the world is in the same problem. Great Britain is going through the exact same problem. Now that's the clincher right there. These other countries who are dealing with the problems that we're dealing with these immigrants like France and Sweden, they have an infrastructural breakdown problem. And all those same rules and regulations that are in place that I shared with you of how things operate is operating the same way with them, and that's their problem. What can we do? We have to build the wall. We have to hold elected officials accountable, and we have to stop voting for candidates that don't support America first. And stop making it America first an evil word. Because if we don't have America first, we will have a breakdown of who we are and what we are here for. And yes, we went through a lot of war and pain to make this country. You people who come here and get all the benefits and are immigrants and illegal immigrants and chain migration and say, we work hard, we work hard. You don't work any harder than anyone else, other than you come here with no trades, you come here with no talents, and you steal. I showed you those Chinese people learned all those Southern recipes, and they didn't come here with no trade. They came here to make money. Even those Africans. I told you a long time ago, recently in February, I went and got a beautiful African skirts. Thank you for the compliment. I wore a lot of them at CPAC. But some of them I looked at, they said, oh, these are made from Ghana, my sister. Oh, they're beautiful. Yes, okay, I look at them, right? inside the skirt, it says made in India. India? Honey, how is this made in India? I thought you said it came from Africa. Oh, no. The fabric is fabricated from Africa. So what she's saying is, we made up this pattern that is similar to Ghana. Then we send for mass production into India, and we sell it to you silly-ass African-American people so that you feel like you're part of your motherland. But basically, we're here as commoditized goods and trade because we want you to buy from us. Now, you want to feel African? Here's a great skirt for you. I mean, I was just like, wow, but the bottom line is, world is rolled by money, right? But if you're going to talk about people who want to support socialism, let me talk to the social liberal white women who hate their parents' women. Let me help you out, you socialist. How can you expect an infrastructure to pay for itself when you have remittance growing higher than the infrastructure that's coming in? How do you expect to pay for all your free stuff and your free goods and you have to help these people when the working people are moving out of those high liberal states like California and New York? How do you expect to pay for that, honey? Boo-boo, how you gonna do that? Because you won't tax these people coming here for free. You won't put a tariff on them for free. You gonna do that? You gonna do all those fees, huh? No, you're gonna give them everything for free. Something's got to change up or it will be broken, or you will be broken. So I want you to sit down, think about this. I want you to understand and have these conversations. So instead of going to people talking about the wall and how much they hate Trump, think about your protection. Think about your opportunities. Think about your communities and good people who can't even get the small jobs. And when they do get the jobs, they operate through cash. And that cash does not create a recycle system so that it stays within its county or its parish. Do you all understand what I'm saying? And I know this is a deep subject matter, and thank you for sharing. Please like this video, share right now, write this down, watch the video again. You're going to have to watch this video again because I want you to do your own homework. Don't take me for my word. It's okay if you agree or disagree with me. But I want you to say, you know what, you made some valid points, and I got to think about that. You made some valid points on why we need to support the President of the United States. You made some valid points on why I need to have an understanding of a protection of people outside of the rapists and the babies and the sickness and diseases. I know we rant a lot about those things. So maybe if I talk about it from your pocketbook, the things that are affecting your pocketbook and the things that are hurting your pocketbook and your children and your schools, the crowding of the public schools. In California, half the schools are in English and half of them in Spanish. All these people are coming in and stealing time, and time is a commodity. Your livelihood, when you have to go home and realize that your child isn't as smart as you were at that age and you can't figure it out. Why? Because your child is not a priority of origin in this country. The American system has been broken down. That is also part of our infrastructure. So the money, our layout of living, our constitution, our rules and regulations are being twisted, my family. I really want you to wake up to that. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Elena's watching, Kay is watching. Who else is out there? You guys got some great questions. Donna's out there. I appreciate this, Donna. Herbert's out there. Wendy's out there. You know what? I'm trying to give you a different a diaspora and view on this. They don't bank here. No, you're right. Someone said, who said they don't bank here? Bill says they don't bank here. They don't bank here. They send their money back home. A guy says, you're absolutely right. Yeah, they don't bank there. They don't bank here. Charlotte says, thank you for your wonderful hard work. You know, I pray and I ask God to give me discernment to say what I need to say to those who are open to hear me. And those who do, those who have ears, let them hear and get those tick-ticks out of their ear. Because if you can get past that, you will make sure that 2020 we keep Trump in office. And we continue to press for regulation, we press for true law and order, and we press for good government and good governing. But that we don't become distracted as we have been before, and what we continually be distracted by media and these buffoonery elected officials like Cortez and all of that. That's not your issue. Your issue is your local life. You're trying to pay your bills. You're trying to take care of your family. You're trying to get your car note. You're trying to breathe. You're trying to say, why can I not save? I can't save no money. I'm showing you why you can't save no money, because your cost of living has continued to increase. There's Julie out there. I see my Linda out there. Let's see who's out there. Mexico and tariffs, absolutely. Again, for those who might have just started to chime in, watch this video again. I talked about remittance and infrastructure and money being sent over. Why don't we do a breakdown? Someone can post on my page. Tell me, how many countries are getting money from America? Who do you think the top 5 are? I talked about Mexico and India. Who do you guys think the top 5 countries are benefiting? Is it Saudi Arabia? Is it Russia? Is the next one, should it be China? All the money being sent from America back to China? I mean, who do you think? Is it El Salvador? Is it Guadalajara? I mean, these people we're the victims. You're absolutely, Paul says, a victim. We're the victims right here in America. The American people are the victims to the infrastructures that are being stolen by us. You know, if we understand that and we can have these conversations, we can grow together. But if we're going to call each other racist names and attack each other personally and not understand the infrastructure of how America was built and not have a camaraderie of agreement and disagreeing, we will never grow. We will never grow. And all the Republicans and Trumpicans that have their differences, you are still Americans, my God. You're still Americans. And I want you to love this country. And I want you to love each other. But you can't do that if you're not talking. And you can't do that if it's about sole self-proprietorship. Because people are truly about themselves right now. And I understand why. It's because the infrastructural layouts are being raised, the cost of livings are getting higher, and our priorities have taken place of our families and our livelihoods. And why? Because the remittance money has disrupted our interlay. And if you can get that, then we need to tax remittance. So what's the answer? The answer is retaxing remittance. The answer is we need a bill that talks about having a fee added on to remittance in this country. If you're going to send all this money, $30 billion, $31 billion or $30 billion back to Mexico, then what we need to do is we need to have a fee added to that. We need to have a tariff added to that. We need to get 10 or 20% of that money and get it to stay here. And then that money needs to go towards building the wall, because that is your money, Mr. Trump. There's the answer to your wall. There's your money for the wall. And if you can circumvent the Congress and not have to go through Congress and not have to go through saying we need more taxes so that it can come after us in California and everybody else, just go after those immigrants. They're here anyway, sitting back cash. Go after that remittance money. Fee that money. And you got your wall money. That's $30 billion, doggone it. If you got $1 for every 30, doggone it, you double it. For every dollar you send back, we get $1. Do you realize that's $30 billion? And all we're asking for is 8.6 billion? Just Mexico alone would pay for that damn wall. So maybe he's leading up to that. Maybe it takes time for him to get to that. Because I've always said all this money going back to those people, we should be able to say we need to take that money and fix the wall. But I wanted to do a video of the breakdown of how that money is consumed, how that money is not being given back to us and recycled, and how that money is helping them out. But if that would be identified and a bill would be in place, or some type of legislation, or an executive order, or we go back and look at some of the old regulations and rules after being here for how many years in this country? How many rules and regulations back to 1776? You can't tell me there ain't some kind of law that's already in place. There's one of them blue dresses in the closet. We got so many blue dresses, meaning we have so many bills. That's what I call blue dress. We got so many bills and laws that have passed. Somebody need to go dust one off and say, oh, here's one. This is applicable. We don't need to go through Congress. Come on now. All you people in the White House, use your brain. Stop trying to make it more complex and have to go through Nancy Pelosi and those cranny Loosey Tubes and Camilla wannabe ain't Black Harris and Cory Booker and all those people. You can circumvent them and say, oh, I don't have to use you. There's already a law in place. And we're going to dig that law up and we're going to implement that law because it's never been used to this capacity and it was put in place for a reason. The founding fathers were founding for a reason. That is why America is greater than most countries, because our infrastructure of law has a tier layer of protection, local, state, and federal. But if we're going to break that down to help somebody else who's of a third world country, and they're going to come here and live on the street and live in high impact, high density, meaning that a square footage of a building or a room would might be a 600 to 1,000 is now got 4 families in it. That's not how we live in America. And that's not how we should accept our ways to start to transcend into. Well, we don't have parking anymore. We want to have all these damn scooters to trip over and trains and buses to take. Well, we know that California and Texas and Florida, some of these states are huge and massive, and we do a lot of large traveling from one part of the state to the other. And they expect us to get there by scooter, a.k.a. Cortez. So I want you to think about these things and write that down. Share this video. Like and share this video in groups and have the discussion about it. Because by doing that, then maybe some of you guys, the next thing you need to do is call your legislator and ask them, why do we not have a remittance bill? How can Mexico send back from America $30 billion and we not get enough of that money? Well, we get a little tax on it from a state level or a little tax on it from the service fees. The service fees of these companies sending back money are probably making more money than me and you. And they just set up a little website with the service fees, doggone it. Why aren't we getting that money back, doggone it? Why aren't we using that money? And you can bypass Congress, Mr. Trump. You don't have to deal with the White House, Mr. Trump. You could take the money from the people who entered the country illegally and legally and extendedly illegally. You can get the money right back from them and not the American people. Because if you raise the infrastructure tax dollars, that affects my pocketbook. That affects your pocketbook, right? The water, the gas, the food, and all that other stuff, right? The electric and everything. But if you take from their pocketbook, yeah, take it from their pocketbook. Hell, that's why we got to build a damn wall. There's too many of you people. There's too many of you. There's too many of all of you, including the immigrants, who hire illegal immigrants to circumvent the law by operating through cash, who do not want to work within the infrastructure of law and order of tax-paying citizens and American-abiding citizens for recycling the dollar here. Because it's not about us, right? It's about their families and their countrymen. So yeah, $30 billion. Why not take that money from India? I showed you that money in India. These people are sending money in India. Why not take that money and put a remittance? All the countries that send remittance, tell me the top 5. Is it China? Because if you're going to do that, I'm telling you, that's the next thing we need to do, is call our legislators and ask them, why aren't we taxing or tariffing, put a tariff. Mr. Trump talked about that at CPAC. So let's do a summary, and I'm closing out on CPAC. CPAC was amazing. It was my first time going to CPAC. I had a wonderful time. CPAC, from my perspective, had three components. They had the speakers, they had the exhibits, and then they had Media Row. And the Media Row people got to talk about issues. I shared my home state, California. I love California. We here at California are at war. You have no clue, for you are nationally, the pain and the suffrage that so many of us are going through. That every day that you don't understand the anger in the videos of the people who are trying to tell you how hard it is for us. These people come here, they take every job that we used to all have as side jobs. You don't even turn off. When I go to Texas and California, I call it, it's like popping here and popping there. And I would tell you, in California, when we pop in here, we don't turn off. In Texas, they go to church on Sunday and they don't work on the weekends. We have to work year round. Some of the people in California, Americans, are working 2 and 3 jobs. And it's really sad that we have to work 2 and 3 jobs to pay our bills because of the cost of living. Do you know the margins? There's no margins in real estate right now. I was talking to one of my friends who has a business in Beverly Hills. Do you know there's about 25 to 28 vacancies in Beverly Hills? I call it Persian Hills because there's a lot of Persian people and those women wearing all that garment. But what has happened is all these immigrants have bought those buildings and they've raised the rents so high that the business owner can't make a profit margin. The business owner can't make a profit margin. Houses are so high that those, when they go to sell it and they try to get back in on another resale, have lost all their margins. Now, for those who understand that, and don't understand it, do your homework on that. The word margins. Again, I'm trying to simplify it, but I want you to understand there's hard times in our state because of the infrastructure being broken down and opportunities that are being taken away, given away by legislators allowing these people in our communities. In the black communities, we had no control. We welcome the Chinese. We welcome the immigrants. We welcome the Latinos. They came to our community. They didn't go to the high-end Brentwood. They didn't go over to Melrose. They didn't go over to Westwood. Some of them did. They came to our communities. And then they pushed us out. We befriended them, and they pushed us out. And they're rude to us, and they're mean to us, and they're mean to our elderly. We have 6% blacks in California. We're suffering in California. And if you're on a national platform, if you're in Texas or Minnesota or South Carolina or North Dakota, or maybe even in Texas, let me say this to you. You don't understand. You think these people are your friend. They're copying you. They're watching you. They're learning your trades. They're going to take over your community. Soon you think the tire company that you just hired because you got some cheap employees, next thing you're going to look up is Rodriguez is going to have that same tire company right next to you. And he's going to send that money over to his homeland. And you're going to have a breakdown of your infrastructure. And you're going to have people selling on the streets. You're going to have people who have typhus and hepatitis A and tuberculosis. They'll grow in your town. And then maybe you might wake up. But you shouldn't have to do that. If we in California are trying to prepare you and be the wall and the shield of information, a woman from California trying to tell you the real tea, not some pundit and commentator looking good on TV talking about a bunch of words of racism and hatred. I'm talking about money and numbers. I'm talking about pain and truth. I'm talking about housing and families. Whole homeless families are on the streets in California. Rats are running in city council buildings and meetings. We got to step over rat traps. Rat traps downtown LA as we walk in the buildings. That's not normal. That's not normal. But it's normal for them now. See, the new normal is poverty. The new normal is open squatting. We're not going to ever have that here, you say? How do you know? How do you know? Because the more you push out Americans, the more you see the infrastructural dollars not being able to pay for facilities. We don't have the infrastructural dollars, right? I broke that down how and where that money's going. So if that money's going out of state, I'm sitting in the sun under the light. If it's going out of state, that means we can't do mental facilities. That means we can't build homeless programs or programs to help these people in their mind. They got mental issues. They ain't got no place to go. We don't have enough housing. And then when we build it for refugees. And we have signs in California that says refugees housing for them. Not for good American people, not the veterans who laid down their lives, who came back maimed and lost limbs. For you good people, for you illegals, to have the blessings of this country, of this Judeo-Christian country. This country was founded on Christian Judeo values, not Muslims and Hinduism and Buddhism. I'm going to tell you what it's founded on. And I don't care if you do practice your religion. Your religion didn't do anything in your country, but you're here. I am a Christian, a woman of God, with the blood of Jesus is pled over my life and all my friends and my children. In the name of Jesus, this country is not founded on socialism or foreign religions. This country was founded on the children of God, the children who blood and gave life to this country. And if you think you're going to take the true God, the true Allah, the true children of Israelites, you think you're going to take this country, you got a fight on your hand, because you're not. Because the children of God will prevail. His blood will prevail. The Holy Spirit will prevail. His angels will prevail. The devil will not win in the name of Jesus. So I ask for those who agree with me or don't agree with me to be warned that this child of God and those who are in agreement and watching this saying, yes, sister, in the name of Jesus, amen. The millions of people who hear the believers who are praying that this righteous man that we have prayed for in this country, Trump, will move forward. Because we believe he is right standing with God. Is he perfect? Ain't nobody perfect. Everybody has fallen. The scriptures even say that. For all men have fallen and fallen short of the glory of God. We ain't telling you that this man is a God or a savior. He ain't Jesus. Trump's got all kind of mess on him. He's imperfect. But so do you. You're so perfect, right? You don't have any rocks thrown at you. You got your shit all together. But you want to continue to talk about Russia and Trump when I'm telling you your life is disrupted by people stealing in your communities and helping their homeland and not yours. So you get ready for higher taxes. You get ready for higher gas. You get ready for seeing things that you've never seen. We can't even walk down Hollywood Boulevard anymore. It used to be beautiful. You could read the stars. I got to step over hot dogs cooked in bacon, cooked with people with nasty fingernails. Oh, but they have to understand in their country. I don't care about their country. I don't care about their families. And you shouldn't care either if you're an American. You know why? Because you should care about the people in this country. Because in the end, they don't care about you. You need to have priority, people. You need to realize who's your friend and who's your ally. You white, racist, liberal people. You white, racist people who sit back and hate over people. You're wasting your time. You think black people are your enemy? We're not your enemy. Doggone it, many of us are your cousins because you cross-pollinated us for 400 years. Some of us have the same DNA and you don't even know it. It's ridiculous how we're wasting our time on racism. There's only one race, the human race. What we have is different cultures. And everybody black is not black to me because all skin folks ain't kin folks. I am a descendant of slaves. I can go back to 1854. Many of these people who are ranting, who are given platforms, aren't even a descendant of slaves, aka hashtag ADOS, African Americans, descendants of slaves. My ancestors contributed to the blood of this ground. So when you hear these people who are online talking and we don't believe in race or racism because you've never had your back scratched. You've never had your family raped, your family member beat upon, spit upon, called all kind of ignorant names for decades. Where white people and even black people who sold them and brought them here and stepped on their back and spit on them and raped their parents in front of them and stole their children and auctioned them off like cattle. You can't relate to that pain and that fear. That blood doesn't flow in you. That anger is not in you. Because you didn't contribute toward the infrastructure laid in this country. All the people who fought through all that, the blacks and the whites for our embetterment today, need to value the pain and never forget it. Never forget the pain of the people who died, including the whites who died to make this country better. Including every ethnic group that came afterwards to contribute and sacrificed their homeland and said, this is now my homeland. For those who are immigrants who are saying they're not sending money back to help that country, but contribute to this country, I commend you. But majority of yours who are here are saying ladder through these numbers that we're learning online. And these are numbers that are reported. How many of these numbers are not reported? Who's to say that 30 is not 90 billion? Who's to say that 30 is not 160 billion? Who's to say not 30, that's 200 billion? Who's to say that? Because of all the money transfer that's reported, that's not reported. The cash that could go through what suitcases? Tied on people's bodies, drove over the border. You can still drive easily from California into Mexico. So who's to say there's no, and no one checks you when you go in. Come on now, think. Ain't nobody checking nobody when you leave California to go to Mexico. I accidentally drove over there because it was a fog, and I was like, damn, I'm in Tijuana. What the hell? It was hell, man. I had to come out and speak really good English. But seriously, think about it. Who's to say they don't have money in their trunks and tied up into their suitcases and tied up all into the seats of a car or a van when they drive in there? Who's to say that they have not $30 billion going in car transfers? So it could easily be $100 billion that we don't know of remittance money that should have stayed here towards the infrastructure money and in bettering your lives, yours and mine. So that we can put all this hatred aside and be jealous and be mad if somebody's coming up better than you. You ain't got to worry about it because the communities are much better and much safer because why? We have a wall. The communities are much better and safer. Why? Because we have better regulation on infrastructure of immigration and illegal immigration, and chain migration has stopped. We have a better understanding that money won't be sent out and that money needs to be tapered. We should start limiting more and more money being sent out. We should say, I'm sorry, you can't send as much as you used to. Eventually, you'll only be able to send $1,000. That's it. I got family to feed. Then you need to go back and feed them there, honey. You need to go back and learn everything that you've learned here, everything that you stole from good American people, our skills and our knowledge. You need to go and make your country great. Go back there and do it. Go back there. You can do it now. You've been here long enough. You've got enough money now. Leave while you got it good. Because trust me, under this administration and those of us who have a voice at the table and want to say something to this administration, we would tell them the time is up. That your time of what you've been able to take away from good American working people, soldiers who've died and come back with limbs lost, needs to stay with those families. And those families need to keep their money and keep the infrastructural money that should stay here through remittance that are going back to yours. You need to understand that. Money makes the world go round. And the roundness of this world is going out. We want it to stay here. Before I go, anybody else? That's a great idea. Limit spending. Well, thank you so much, Max Online. Jack said that's true. Pat's on. Right. ADOS. Hashtag ADOS. Hashtag us too. Hashtag Max too. I love that, Max. That's so cute. Mike is out there. Thank you so much. Mike says from the white Christians back then. Hey, I always talk about black and white, but I think we should feel comfortable doing that. I think when people say, oh, that's racist, that's a racist, those people create this racial tension. Because I don't remember racial tension being this bad about 15 years ago. This is ridiculous. It really came through that Obama immigration trial and error pushing through. That's a whole nother conversation. Janet said, God is the only one who is perfect. Amen. Amen. When y'all start beating up Trump, talking about he ain't perfect. And Linda says, amen, sister. I appreciate that. I mean, each one of you guys have just been such an encouragement. Lori says, Woodstock, New York. Hey, girl. Janet says, amen, sister. Preach. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for sharing and liking this video. And please leave comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me your top 5 remittance do you think of the people who come here and give that money back. Because if we can control that, there's your wall money. There's your wall money. That's your wall money. You ain't got to worry about Congress. You ain't got to have us go through 6 months of the media charades we going to go through. Or another 4 months or a whole life be taken up by watching all these feeds of hearing about this Cortez and hearing about the woman who married her brother. I'm so sick of all that. That's an easy fix. You got to vote them out. I'm sorry. Those people going to still be in Congress if you like them or not. We're going to try to find a way to get them and taken out. Well, you shouldn't have let them get in the first time because you didn't run any strategists. They didn't run. The RNC did not run any strong candidates against those people. They let them win. The RNC are letting these people win seats. They're not conscious. I'm sorry, RNC. You are responsible for these seats that you say, hey, you may or may not win. You keep sticking to your little strategy. Their strategy is, let's just go after the ones we know we can win. Let's give all the money to the ones we can win. In the meantime, the cuckoo for Cocoa Pop people, they're winning those states that you could have won if you'd reached out in the right way. If you talk to strategists like myself, who know people in the community, who have grassroots connection. I'm from California. If anyone that you need to talk to are the people and the delegates and the activists in California who are enduring the pain of immigration, illegal immigration, chain migration, expired visas, we are the ones. We're the ones that you should come and say, we need to have a luncheon. We need to have a state meeting with the leaders and the Trumpicans. That comes from the RNC. If you really want to make this America great again, because if you don't, what good is it? You're the ones that control the purse strings. I don't have the money. I have good candidates that we can run, but we need money for those candidates. And I ain't talking about a couple $100. Now, you know, you cannot run for some of the major seats with no 110,000, 100,000. Those are $1 million seats. Let's talk about some money. Those are $1 million seats. So you need to get them purse strings out. Call Uncle JoJo. Call some of them good people, some of them the wonderful Jewish people. Call whoever you got to call. Call the money people, the old money people. See, I told you, we can talk about culture and people and money. Don't be offended. That's how the world goes around. And so we need to have a strategy and put some good people in those communities. A lot of those communities have a lot of African Americans. Why not run it and descendant of slave? Why not run it, ADOS, an African American, a descendant of slaves, and do it in remembrance of the 400th anniversary of those people who have been here, like myself, a generation of that family member, and it make a difference. But you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to win any of these seats, and you're going to still get these more cuckoo for Cocoa Pop socialist candidates in the future because you're looking at the weak points and you're just holding on to your strong points. You're ignoring the weak points, and holding on to the strong points. It takes money. I get it. But it also takes numbers. And if you build a relationship, you might have a shot in the dark and didn't have to put so much money, but you put the time and you put the numbers to get something that didn't take as much money. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Make sure you share this video. This is a very intense video, has a lot of thorough information, and I'm glad you enjoyed what I had to say. Again, infrastructure, remittance, do your homework, money, number, and time makes a difference. And if we can have a clarification of what is our rights versus everybody else getting those rights and benefits, and stop looking at, well, the wall, there's a reason why we need that wall, and that's to keep your pocketbook safe and to keep your livelihood safe, mentally, physically, and emotionally. I love you guys. Thank you for sharing. Share this video now and like. Follow urbangamechangers.com, make a donation, and make a difference. And it'll make a difference in my life and those around us. Good night.